reasons. Now here's a man out the front here who dares to wave the flag that represents us all. Should catch up with him. Now what's happening here, Phil? Now what's your point, sir? So here we have a man who doesn't believe in New Zealand. Aren't you a New Zealander, sir? Aren't you a New Zealander? Are you ashamed of your country? Well, why can't we have a flag? Why can't we have our flag up? This is the New Zealand flag. Are you opposed to New Zealand, are you? So here we have it, the spoiled 1/6. So here we have it, folks. These are the people who think that they should have control of the country. This is who you're surrendering your country to when you fawn all over the Maori culture. You're probably a good guy, but you're obsessed.
No, you weren't. No, you weren't.
Yes, he was.
From this land.
Sure, yeah.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah. Where are they? Are they written on the back of the treaty or invisibly? Where are they? Where are the principles? They're not on the treaty. A tribunal, the Maitangi tribunal. Yes, exactly. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Are you even used to it? You're not even recording here. This guy's not even recording. Check it out.
I was. What do you mean?
Po Māori e, whakalofo lahi atu, welcome to the Daily Examiner. My name is Elliot. It is my pleasure to welcome you on to have a watch. We've just been watching a cut of a clip that happened quite recently, and without further ado, I want to bring on my two guests because I really want to bring out some big questions, but some housekeeping, of course. If you would like to jump in there and ask any question, please feel free to chuck it in there, and we'll make sure that we get any sort of discussion or chat going with our two wonderful guests. It's really, really important. So I want to welcome to the stage Phil Engel and John Ansell. Phil and Joe, good to see you guys. Hope you're doing well. How are you?
Great, Elliot. Thank you.
Good this evening, thank you. It was a good weather for Easter.
Awesome. Good weather for Easter. Awesome. So first off, some intros. I've been getting some messages throughout the day about, some of them know John, but I'd like you to introduce yourself. Maybe if we start with John. John, just a real quick brief about who you are, your involvement here, and then we'll move on to Phil.
Well, I guess I was in advertising. That's what I'm probably known for. Did 3 campaigns for Labour. That's not widely known. In the 80s, early 90s. One for National in 2005. And the only one they want to talk about was a billboard called Iwi Kiwi, which has been bent out of shape. It means Labour stood for, 1/6 of the population, and National stood for 6/6. But that's obviously, it doesn't suit the other side, so they pretend that was a white dog whistle, sort of stands for white people. So I've had that for about 20 years as a supposed racist. Really what I want is equal citizenship. That's all I stand for, like that terrible organisation Hobson's Pledge. You may have heard of it.
Yeah,
Equal
I've heard of
citizenship
them.
to me. And, so I just use my word. I'm on Facebook an awful lot, um, trying to distill the problems of the day, which do not just include this issue. Very strong on the anti premeditated state mass vax murder, which others call the freedom movement. Um, I'm an anti vaxxer, I'm a climate denier, all those things, And really, I just want fairness and honesty.
Yeah, good on you.
And
And I have seen some of your
yeah,
interviews with people like Joe Trinder, where you have always consistently espoused equality for all people. That's it. There's doesn't seem to be anything else. It's just we should all be treated equally. That's how it should be, and you've never strayed away from that. So you're right. The fact that you
we
get
become
called a bit
cartoons.
of a racist.
We become cartoons. It suits people to regard us as cartoons, white supremacists, KKK, all that stuff. But I deplore that as much as anybody else does, and so perhaps we can get some of that across tonight.
Good on you.
That we
Good
just
on
want
you.
equality. That's what Phil wants.
Good, good. And Phil, who are you? Especially with all this wonderful stuff going on.
Elliot, you've entered into a hot potato here, my friend. I'm a mid forties farmer, born and bred here in the Wairarapa, and I've been watching this country change. I've travelled a few parts of the world, and we've been highly regarded, especially for our footy exploits, and obviously our products that leave this country. But we are changing direction here, and it has to be reviewed and stopped and headed back in the other direction, because we can't have this division going on anymore. We can't have this intrusion in our schools, in our businesses. And now you have shown a part of the footage, and at the tail end of that footage, you'll see how our policing, where our policing's heading, and on Tuesday we're about to find out where our judicial system is at. So this is pinnacle, my friend, and I'm impressed that you want to touch this hot potato.
Awesome, awesome, good on you. So John is coming from an advertising background. He worked alongside with National. He had a wonderful iwi kiwi. I do remember the billboard going out there. I didn't know much about it at that point, but I do remember it being around there. I thought it was quite smart. As I got older, I realised how intelligent it really was. And yeah, like I say, I've seen John interview with different environments, and he's always kept it straight on. That it's just about equality. It's about all people should be treated the same. As many of you will know, that Hi'ui Taitato is the maxim that we go by, which is we are all one people. Well, yeah, John does follow that. He puts his money where his mouth is, and he follows through with it. It's really powerful. Phil, awesome to hear. A farmer, of course, the ones who were treated very horribly during the Ardern regime. And perhaps even before that, perhaps it wasn't. Those pine forests coming out there, the carbon credits, the zero emission schemes that were going on from National and Labour. Yeah, you guys got it. You guys got it really rough.
Winter grazing down in Southland.
Yeah, the salt of the earth.
And,
they built this
yeah, maybe we
country,
can actually.
to a great degree.
We might come back to that actually, because I wouldn't mind getting your take on a couple of things anyway as we go on. So we've got a picture of who both of you are. We saw the video clip where someone was trying to rip that off you. I found it to be physical altercation. The court case on Tuesday. We do want to make sure that so any time that you want to not answer anything, feel free just to say nah, can't talk about that. Absolutely fine. The physical assault on you when that flag was being ripped off you. So is the court case about the person ripping the flag off you, or what's the court case actually about? What's going on there?
No, Elliot. It's got nothing that includes the two that left the hikoi and came forward and attacked me 3 times. doesn't include them. The charges are inciting violence, disturbing the peace, inciting violence, and that is from the police led, and then from an arrest from that.
So he got beaten up by 2 Maori and 5 cops, and he's the one that's doing the violence. Can you believe? It's a mirror image of the Liz Gunn situation, except Phil wasn't brave enough to tap someone on the arm like Liz was.
So just to get this,
she went down for that.
So just to get this straight, what you're saying is that it's that the court case is not to do with the physical assault on you. The court case is against you for somehow inciting violence and physical drama. Is that what it is?
Walking down the street with the flag,
Correct.
in front of a hikoi.
I find that extraordinary. Yeah. That's I gotta say that is absolutely extreme. I cannot believe that's where we are. I mean, that video shows a clear assault on you. You're saying that there's more. We only showed about 2.5 minutes, but I think what we'll do is we'll make sure that we get that whole one shown with your permission. If you're okay with us, what we'll do is we'll actually send that footage fully out there for all of our people to watch, to make up their own mind. So, okay.
Well, you haven't seen the gang tackle by 5 cops on him yet. That was the main violence of the day.
Right.
Being thumped up by 4 couldn't get him because he's too tough, but the 5th one subdued him in the end. He's a rugby
Gotcha.
player, you see. He's taken down a Scottish guy who became a British Lion, who then picked him up by the groin and hung him upside down as appreciation. But Phil's tough, you see, and took 5 cops to subdue him. But they shouldn't have been. They shouldn't be bashing him and leaving his blood on the wall, should they? He wasn't the one that did any violence to anyone. He didn't decide anything.
Yeah, no, absolutely right, absolutely right. Athena's coming on. Ridiculous. The judge needs to throw it out. Yes, totally agree. Absolutely right. She'd be. I think she's actually sort of south of your area, actually. If I remember that correctly.
I know Athena. She's in Wellington. Yeah, she's in Wellington.
Oh, wonderful. So Charmaine's come up with a question, and we'll put these questions as they do come out. Why did police try to subdue you, Phil? What's the reason? What did they give a reason?
Well, initially I was, in their terms, or the arresting officer, I was disturbing the peace. And so that needed to upgrade for them to pursue it or make it something stick a little bit further. Because I wouldn't leave, and because the officer was kettling me off, which was separating me from the hikoi, and I returned back to the hikoi. You'll see in the about midway through the footage. They chose at one point there, when they had enough officers, that continuing like this, I assume, was going to, in their terms, likely to cause more violence. So I was then gang tackled and removed from the State Highway 2 into a side alley.
So just to make this, it doesn't seem to matter who does the violence, as long as you can incite. They might have taken the view, quite predictably, that the was not going to be done by Phil; it was going to be done to Phil. But somehow that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And it should, shouldn't it?
Yeah, because I really think we need to, and what's really good is if you've got 2 and 3, sometimes 3 different angles within your footage, which is amazing. This is what some of the great stuff about technology is, that we can see beyond the narrative of what is going to be told out there. Was there any violence on your part? Did you try to fight people in that area at all?
No, Elliot, and to all your viewers this evening, no, I don't have that in my nature. It was not my intent. I don't swear at anyone. I don't lose my cool. as you'll see, you'll see that I'm a true, genuine, just normal bloke. I just do my thing, and it all came my way, and that's the interesting bit here that everyone needs to see.
He was walking backwards to Christmas much of the time. There's a song, "Walking Backwards to Christmas." Well, he was walking backwards, chatting to the cop as the cop was coming down on him, and Phil was saying, "No, you're not allowed to do that," but he's backing off. So he wasn't really being confrontational, unless walking down the street with your country's flag proudly is somehow
some form of
an act of violence. If anybody was inciting, that would probably have been me. I got a bit vocal. I was commenting for the Facebook crowd. I wasn't yelling at anybody else. I was calling it. I went along to record whatever happened, and it would have been very peaceful, except what happened was that my friend got beaten up. So I called that, lost my cool a couple of times, sung a song to the cop called Mr. Constable, so I remembered it, a bit of it, and which came from the Parliament experience of the cops bashing up ladies and everybody but fit men, really. They bashed up everybody else, old men, young ladies. So
right, you're referring to... You're referring to, of course, the Parliament lockdown, the brutal treatment from the New Zealand police, and very sadly, that's where many of us have just emptied out in terms of our trust of the police, trust in the institutions, and well said. Kevin's come on here. He said,
"Oh, the police in the highest regard." I used to hold the police in the highest regard, right up there with doctors, But now both of them are right in the toilet, as far as I'm concerned. And for good reason.
It's really sad.
We're just responding to events, aren't we?
Oh, yeah, that's right. I have seen a couple of times. I've seen a couple of times that police song from the 90s, when it was "He's my brother," that singing part. Always loved it. Great ad, and the vibe was there. We trusted the police at that point. The police themselves were more Kiwis. They were just Kiwis. We were actually all in it together. Those are really, I think that they were really good times in terms of especially that relationship. But of course, since the midway through the 10s, and then of course especially the 2020 hit, it was just they became this brutal form of government and a government arm as opposed to a peacekeeper or as opposed to an enforcer of the law. Quite shocking, really.
So a form of overreach, Elliot. A form of overreach there, and that they're doing the nitty gritty for whoever needs them to do it. John here will describe the motto on the bottom of the emails for you.
Oh well, yes, Wairarapa Police, and then there are 5 or 6 icons: professionalism, respect. So far, so good. Maori, big letters. Now, arguably, that's because Maori is a word than the other word, so it's very much Maori and treaty, commitment to treaty. What else was there? Empathy and diversity. Yeah, so those are the.
Oh my gosh, really?
No mention of any other ethnic group.
No.
Just Maori and empathy to them, I suppose, and diversity. So you might get a point.
Hey, I better get a point for that one. So hang on. So you're saying that the letterhead under on the police, it's got diversity and I'm sorry. Does it also have equity? Is there as well?
I don't believe so, but I'm just finding it for you.
Yeah. So there's the motto. So if you went to a school has a motto or a pledge or what have you. So these are running at the bottom of their communications. It just blew me away. I found it. I had it sent to me 2 weeks ago, and it just explained everything to me, Elliot. That we are in big trouble if our forces in blue are going to police us like that. That's not right. And you'll see in this the latter part of this footage how attuned they are and how skilled they are to uphold that. And you'll see for your own eyes. I can't point it out because it's part of my evidence, but you'll see with your own eyes.
Interesting. Well, so just to have a think about this event as well.
I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that? Those little icons. Uh, Hang on, you put them over the edge. But those say
Oh,
No, you're gonna have to read them to
have to
them.
read them out.
Yeah.
But they say professionalism and respect, professionalism, and hello, we just moved. Um, Integrity. Can you believe integrity? Commitment to Maori and the treaty in big letters, empathy, and valuing diversity. So those
yeah,
are
I
their
knew that equity.
priorities in.
Can you just tell me what this was at the bottom of a letterhead of the police? Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Is that your charge sheet?
No, this is just communications from the a local police officer. It comes in their standard email.
I think it's really extraordinary because of course that is actually imported. That is an imported this imported language that's coming out from the United Nations, which means that why are we following UN doctrine?
Well done, Elliot. Well done. That's why I wanted you to pick up.
Very well asked.
Yeah.
Then there was this thing that came down. Hikoi and Wānanga. You might see there in yellow, I've actually coloured in yellow, we are here to disrupt. That was the ad that the Hikoi themselves were putting out. So, but who gets arrested for doing disruption? He does.
No, yeah, right. I see.
So
So just to have a look, who is advocating for you on Tuesday? Is it one of your lawyers? Is it the Free Speech Union? Is it is it a public appointed lawyer? What's the deal? You are defending yourself. Okay, good on you. How do you feel? How do you feel about it?
Okay, firstly, Elliot, we'll just correct the wording. I'm not defending myself. I went in as an innocent person. So when they only give you two options, guilty or innocent, or I'm not guilty, I pleaded innocent. Okay, because I'm what am I defending here? I mean, you can't even answer that. I mean, I'm not being cheeky, but that's reality. So I'm not going in here to defend some charges. I'm going in here to have them on, is to play the system. That this is false, this is wrong, and if I did have representation, that means I have to pay. What am I paying for?
various people have said how reckless that is, but he's doing it. You're doing it as a matter of principle. You're prepared to take whatever happens, which is 3 months, if it came to it, in prison. I'm very proud of him for what he's doing. He could have got off this. He could have done a little plea bargain with the cops, got off the prison part, or all of it.
All of it.
All of it.
I declined.
The Free Speech Union were keen to help him. He just wants to represent himself because that's the right thing to do, and we should at least admire that.
It's not a scary. It's not a scary thing to do, Elliot. New Zealand needs to wake up. You can go in there and defend your rightful rights. It's not a scary thing.
So Phil, when you're saying that, because you're saying that you're not defending yourself, and then you give the air quotes. What do you mean by that? When you're saying that you're not defending yourself per se, what do you mean when you say that?
Okay, Elliot. In our judicial system, it's not all that clear to most people. It's you may have a normal run court, judge, lawyers, and the accused. But if you dig a little bit deeper, you'll find that the actual system has got very, very complicated. And so, myself, I've entered that court 3 times, and I've never set foot in front of the bar So I've stayed in the public part of the bar and stood and acknowledged the judge on 2 occasions and spoke directly to the judge at eye level, and I entered as living man Philip. So there's a whole nother subject. Most people don't understand it, and I'm learning it as I go. But presently, we're getting some traction, and in our Masterton court alone, this particular judge that is going to be the residing judge for Tuesday, she's had other, what do you want to call them?
Freedom types.
Yeah, other people that have challenged the normal tracks of judicial system and won. So I'm also endeavouring on exposing another part of a hidden, what's that words here, John? You're good with words.
Well, they speak a secret language. The courtroom is apparently a ship with a bar and a dock and all these things. They don't tell us.
No.
They play their little games with us. Those who know how to play, though, can have them running. One particular person did by standing up higher than the particular judge. But we shouldn't have to be brutalised by our own employees. But this is the way the judicial system has got away with running for a long time.
So Elliot, it goes right back to the arrest. I refuse to give my details. They can't contract with anyone unless you give your details. And your details is your full name and your date of birth. And I refuse to give them. Now, you'll see in that footage that the policeman, the arresting officer, is trying to do a deal with me. And I refuse. I blatantly refuse. Firstly, I wanted to know who put the handcuffs on me, because I couldn't. You'll see in the arrest, I cannot tell who it is at the time. And then I won't give over any of my details until I'm back to the station itself. So I'm trying to give people here some tactics that they do have rights all the way through. So in doing so, you can not be contracted in to any of their normal protocol. So it gives you more rights than you realise. Now, I don't want to go into too much more detail. It's a really big form of information there. So you'll see that I follow this process. So then I've endeavoured on starting to utilise that in the court itself.
So I decided we're going to just skim through parts of this video. I think it can be really important. But you let me know if you don't want me to show it. I know it's on a public space, everything like that, so that's pretty okay. I mean, this section here, right now, I don't understand how this should be freedom of speech. You're not attacking anyone. You're not hurting anyone. You're not screaming at them or anything like that. And then this guy here, he's laying hands on the flagpole, but he's pushing you as well. He's going into your property. He's doing everything he can do to basically rip it off. I don't understand why this court case on Tuesday is not about him and physical assault, rather than at you. I don't understand it.
The same with Liz Gunn getting bashed and her cameraman getting bashed by the police. No one takes an interest in that. They only take an interest in, tapping a security guard. And I was in that case. I was in that courtroom, and that judge just hated Liz. She sentenced Liz for being Liz, and to an extent, he's being charged for being Phil. How dare somebody do that? How dare a man walk down the street in front of our sacred liquor?
Was there any discussion made from the police? Was there anything from the police about the conduct of this person, that he did assault, that he did grab, and that he did destroy your property? Did that come up at all?
Oh no, and they wouldn't follow up any of my complaints about that. How that all transpired when I got back to the station about getting my flag back and all of that had happened in front of an officer on the right-hand side of all that footage. He's on this side, and you'll see him get challenged shortly. So it's all in view of a police officer.
We've just come out of a damning outcome from the Posey Parker police when they engaged in inaction, and there's a strong impression that the inaction was done on purpose, and that it was a political motivation. We've seen atrocities committed by the police during the Parliament protests, the lockdown, and so we're watching something here. Do you think that the police are still, even after the election, that they're still effectively following some type of anti-free speech or university-given directive as to how to police a populace?
Well, I just call it the Ardern Peters Luxon continuous government. That's my answer.
Yeah. And if you watch right now, there goes our New Zealand flag. They sent the thug in this time. This is
this is another assault.
Yes.
Yes, and on your right-hand camera, you'll see the policeman view it all.
I don't believe that. I can't believe it. That cop is right there.
Yeah. He doesn't care. That's Wasson, is it?
No.
Oh, no, it's not Wasson.
I don't believe it. I think that's extraordinary. I really think. So what part are we watching right now?
So we're midway through the walk, and this police officer here, you can see, has been informed that I am being abusive. I'm being essentially trouble to their hikoi. I'm invading their hikoi. I'm not invited, and the complaints have been laid to that police officer now. So now he's aware of that. Now, if everyone had left me alone, that particular van there was the head of the hikoi. That was the safety vehicle, and if they'd left me alone, I would have accompanied that, and everything would have been tickety boo. We'd all be arm in arm. And no, they didn't allow that. So this is where it all goes pear-shaped.
So
you can see there's
these protests.
Well, that's right. I walked in the March for Life, the abortion, and we saw the pro-abortion people. They were counter-protesting our protest. And at no point do we ever want anyone to be jailed or anything like that just because they're screaming at us for being pro-life. I find that extraordinary. And so what are we watching now? Can you speak us through it?
So just to the right, you've just witnessed a college there to perform a haka. An invitation went out to the whole school to be present, and that infuriated a lot of parents that their kids were going to be removed from school to perform in an adult's political movement. So that's what you just witnessed there. This officer here, he's kettling me off. He's separating me from the hikoi itself. I know this tactic. I've been watching it. All the Commonwealth police all around the world do this, and so that's what he's doing. So I'm discussing all that.
Walking backwards.
You're walking backwards. Discussing to him right now that the hikoi needs to stay on the left because that's State Highway 2 that they're blocking off. This is our main trunk line in our Wairarapa town. This is how we make money, and this is completely blocked off. And I'm pointing that out to him that that's not right.
But you know the rules. They're breaking the rules. The rules were you had to stay on the left.
And that both lanes here are blocked. This is main trunk line, Elliot.
So he's just telling the cops what the cops already should know.
Yes. And so he's separating me right off, and I knew what he's doing. So I had enough of that, and you'll see. So I don't step over that middle line there. That was breaking the consent. That middle white line there, and you'll see. I just he gets a little bit distracted.
So shortly after this, he gets dealt with.
So the hikoi is supposed to be on the proper side of the road, but you're saying that they were not, and they're just all over the road.
If you'll see some when I run back in a moment, you'll see they have spread out across both lanes, and the police are blocking all the side roads off, as you can see in some of that footage there. They're on traffic control. So we're playing the police to be on traffic control. It's disgusting.
So the hikoi can break the rules.
Yep.
So Phil's not allowed.
So I then return back to the front of the hikoi, back to where I should have been. So you can see I'm not aggressive, not swinging that pole around. I'm not doing anything. Yep.
Here's
Yeah,
the
the chap
hikoi here.
in the grey there.
And yes, you're right.
There you
You
go.
are pointing it out.
Yes, I'm pointing it out to the head of the hikoi there, Maori Warden.
Phil's trying to do everybody's job for them. They're not very appreciative, are they?
So now
There we go.
Yeah, now he's stepped up the charges from disorderly behaviour. Yeah.
I really don't. You're not harassing people. You're not attacking them. You're not trying to intimidate anything.
That's correct.
And just for our audience, this is the first time I've watched this footage. I'll be honest, I do not understand this. I have seen Phil being attacked multiple times.
My flag's gone, Elliot.
They were the least of his attacks. You wait.
So the police there blocking the roads off to the left. This is the heart of Marston, State Highway 2, blocked off for this.
And there's
Now
the
we've got one of them
suppression.
descending. There we go. That's Phil in there somewhere in the scrum. You were a flanker, weren't you?
Yeah.
He's being flanked. He's yelling at this point. Get the pictures of it. Get the pictures of it. You haven't got the sound, Elliot. Oh, have you?
No, I find it's quite extraordinary. I like the idea of just having the video on at the moment. We will, if it's okay with you, I'm going to share the video. But this way we get to really have a close look at what's going on.
Pardon me? You can move away like everyone else, otherwise you'll be arrested for obstruction. If you're involved in the parade, go in the parade. How far away do you want me to go? Just go in the parade, move away. Continue. Away you go. I'm allowed to film you. You can go away. I'll call you once. Move away.
That's his pole as well. That's not your pole?
I know the guy will take the stuff.
Oh, it's because it's his property, it has to go with him now.
So was that you, John, who was told to go away to get lost into the parade? Is it?
In a previous, yeah. I was told
So-
that if I got closer and filmed, I'd be arrested. And then this guy here, the one who's filming now, which is not me, I don't think, he was also told. Funnily enough, the Maori member of our group was treated much more kindly. He was not.
Interesting.
He was not threatened.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's
So,
the one
and
who's
Charmaine's
filming
put
now.
up a really good point, of course, is that recording is apparently obstruction. You know, and I'm sure what they'll say is that because you look like you're a decent distance away from what was going on there to Phil. Phil, what was going on at this stage
Well, I was
anyway?
trying
Were
to
they
get-
talking to you?
Yeah, they were just about to read my rights to me out there, and they're searching me. So all the injuries have been incurred. Then I quite substantial injuries from the aggressive arrest. It was a little bit. I know it doesn't seem like that with the 3 lots of cameras, but it was a little bit prolonged, and I didn't. It was a little bit harder than they expected. Of them endeavouring on containing me. We'll put it that way.
He's quite strong. Ooh, who's there? But I was trying to get closer to. I wasn't allowed to either. None of us were allowed to get close to see them bashing him up. Risk of arrest. And I was I knew that my footage was not going out until I pressed a button. None of it would be seen until I pressed the play button. That's what I'd worked out. So I had to hang around to do that. But fortunately, there were three others who'd taken upon themselves to do it as well.
I'm just having a look at this. I'm seeing if we can have a quick look at that section though, this part here where they converge on you and then engage in their suppression, which is, I have seen them do this as training before. Yeah, because I'm having a look as well. You don't look like you're throwing anything, but then again, the charges aren't that, are they? The charges specifically are just disorderly and incitement to violence. Is that so? Have I got those are 2 charges? Is it?
That is one charge. One charge. So inciting violence is in brackets. Yeah.
I see. Have they? And
likely to incite
violence. So it's that likely, that contentious word, likely. Yeah.
So that's really, I think that's a really likely. Geez. So what does likely mean? How does the law define likely? And I guess that's what they're going to be saying. Oh well, yeah, it's very likely that it could have happened. Whereas by the footage that you have, it's showing that violence did occur, but that it was against Phil. But it doesn't seem that that's what's being viewed.
Violence, because the police knew that they'd be committing violence, so they were correct about saying that it was likely to happen.
So I think that footing is. I think what's wonderful is you've got some good footage there. I think that's really valuable. What are your thoughts about what's going to happen? Do you have any thoughts, or are you just going to take that fight and you're going to take that stance up and really stand for the Kiwi values of equality and fairness?
Well, my thoughts, Elliot, are that I don't see the system correcting itself just because I'm the one facing it. So I'll be taking a packed bag. Political prisoners all spending time behind bars all around the world right now. This is all a pattern, and free speech is gone. So
it's a hell of a way to draw attention to it, isn't it, Elliot? But what do you do? Someone's got to actually stand up. This guy's got a lot of guts to put himself on the line. Ironically, he's feeding half the Wairarapa. He's a farmer. He said to the cops as they were bashing him up, putting his blood on the wall. He said, "Well, hurry up because I've got to get back and it wasn't milk the cow, was it?
No,
I've got farm work to do. I haven't got time for this mucking about." No. They did let him out eventually, but he was going off to.
So that's the thing, isn't it? Is that you're not a far left, far right fringe activist who just basically gets money because you're a university student or something like that. You're actually a working Kiwi who is out on the farms doing work, getting food, producing food
Yeah. And the government doesn't want to produce food. The government wants to smother the farms in pine trees to starve everyone as part of the depopulation. I mean, you just come across as barking mad if you say the obvious truth. That's what it is. It's the truth. But they don't want New Zealand farmers to do well. They pretend there's a global climate crisis, which everyone knows is bollocks. But this is all, there's just we're being hit by all these. It's like a Venn diagram of gangs when you think about a Venn diagram, those circular things that intersect. We've got the police gang, the bankers gang, the medical gang now, the education gang who, teach bollocks. All these intersecting gangs. The actual gangs are almost the least of it.
Can I just
So I think, Elliot, you're trying to lead on to an agricultural sort of direction there, I believe. Is that right? You were sort of mentioning farming there a little bit, and I guess this is a chance. So the Wairarapa itself is under a hell of an attack for pine trees getting planted. Massive stations are getting sold to be harvestable forests or be carbon credits, and that has massive impacts. I don't have a problem with the logging boys. I've got some great logging mates, so that's part and parcel. But the reality is the dynamics on farms is the landscape is changing fast, and going forward, I don't see how we're going to eat a pine cone or a pine tree. I don't see how we're going to eat. So there's pressure on us who still have land that we can keep the trees away from, that we need to be producing more, we need to be more efficient. But there's not enough people that want to do that job either, 7 days a week. And we have lots of red tape to jump through as well. They're trying to say that this new government is changing things and making things easier. Don't see it.
No.
Don't see it. That's another subject again, Elliot. But we don't see it. It's actually getting harder. So, you know, I'm not in any way racist to anyone who eats my food or anything like that. All I want to do is be out there and grow food. I fed him tonight. I'll feed anyone, and I have a bit of a pattern about having barbecues.
That'd be good.
And initially, when we couldn't get this bloody Labour government, couldn't get them woken up, I had a barbecue outside our local MP's office every Friday. Macanulty. And
yes, right. Barbecues outside his court hearings.
Yeah, and that's then led through to having barbecues before my hearings as well, mate. Because it's all about food. If you've got food, good food grown from the land, and you know it's healthy, you get good conversation, mate. And that has to continue. We do it really well in New Zealand, and we got to be acknowledged for that. But we have to jump through so many hoops now to try and be efficient and effective, and keep all these bloody people happy.
If you go to prison, who the hell's going to run the barbecue after the case?
No, I don't know. I'm sorry.
After the trial.
I'm sorry, I haven't worked that one out yet. Yeah.
How just for because a lot of our listeners are, we've looked at some of the demographic statistics. Approximately half of our people who watch us and read our work are in the provinces areas. About half are not. About half are in your Christchurch, Wellington, in Auckland, and then there's a few over in Canberra, Sydney, and just some other places there. How bad is it in terms of farming in New Zealand? How bad is it? We hear about pine trees, we hear about this stuff, but many of us don't see it on the daily. How bad is it in terms of, what do you think? How bad is it in New Zealand?
So if you went to a township, a small township northeast of Masterton, and there used to be 12 large farms in that whole district, there's only one left. So having 12 neighbours or 11 other neighbours, you've got no neighbours anymore. Try that on.
Do you mean there's pine trees?
They're all pine trees. They're all sold out. Try that on. Just think about that. All of your close contacts. Your school is now obsolete. Just think about that. That's what changes. So then all the associated industries aren't then got any commerce. So the fertilizer planes, instead of having a constant 600 ton to spread across 6 big stations, they're not there anymore, Elliot. Because once trees are planted, there's no other upkeep of the properties themselves other than the maintenance of the trees. So everything just changes.
There is one big new kind of farm, though, isn't there? Solar farms.
Don't dare call them solar farms.
I know they're factories, aren't they?
Yeah. Don't ever use that word.
I knew I'd be.
Yep.
But they can't cover them in pine trees. They cover glass.
Yeah.
Glass.
Yep.
Not grass.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of problems there. That's quite extraordinary. I thought things had actually improved. I'll be honest. And I'm a city slicker, so things haven't improved. National Party, have they come to the table? They're saying all the right words, but what's going on there?
Well, they are getting around the international market better and trying to give us more options for supply, but we have our own internal issues to get through before we can supply those markets, and essentially we're losing area to grow that food from. You'll start to see that milk pool starting to shrink shortly because houses are getting built on milking country. For a little while there, beef farmers were outbidding dairy farmers because beef was starting to get back heavily. Sheep's sadly been in the doldrums and just on a slight rise, and they desperately need it, they mate? But you guys are going to pay the price at the supermarket because that in itself is another monopoly that's going on, and you guys, like I do, I just shudder at the price of cheese and lamb and beef at the supermarket now. I just shudder.
This guy doesn't take no for an answer. You tried to get an appointment with the local MP, national MP.
I did. Yeah.
You didn't get it, so you.
So twice I went in and did the official notification where you sign and do emails, and it promised to get back to me 3 weeks apart. Did all the rules, mate, and on the third return, they locked me out, Elliot. They wouldn't even open the door. Spoke to me through a speaker. I said, fine, that's enough. So I turned up on our MP's doorstep for breakfast.
Went down his drive and greeted him for breakfast.
Yeah, we had a discussion, and we're mates. It's fine. It's how it should be. But enough's enough.
He was a farmer.
Yeah, don't fob us off. Don't fob us off. No, you're there to represent us.
So National approves things on the international market, but it looks like they're not really doing much else. Is there a political party who sound or look like they are going to assist the farming? We don't. I'm a city slicker. All of our money, all of our ability to be sustained does exist on the foundation of farming, of agriculture in New Zealand. There's every single economics report, everything says that. So is there any political party out there who are going to be backing farmers and going to put in policies that you think will help?
Well, I'm very disillusioned, having worked for a lot of them. I think it's time you got back into action. People like Rodney Hyde, you, Bob McCoskrie. Who are these people? Marty Gibson from RCR. We need to. I think we need to brainstorm. Who would we like as a new party? And then you talk to them all and say, would you do it if he did it or she did it? You know, and maybe they'd agree. Maybe a bunch of people like yourself are needed. We seem to be needing a new party. I'd like that guy who's dealing to the media. What's his name? The Canadian billionaire. It would be nice if he got back into politics. We need a lucky break. We need a billionaire to realise the nature of the problem, and you know, who are the best people that you could cherry pick. We're right there. It needs to happen right about last week, doesn't it? Because there's an election next year. Otherwise, we're just going to have the same old mob, the same old globalists, communists, tribalists, you know, every kind of ist, and none of them good.
So Elliot, I'm going to have a crack at answering that. So when you sit alongside a sitting MP at a very informative meeting about the climate hoax, you sit alongside him. You see he takes it all in. At the end of the meeting, he goes up and shakes the organizer and the speaker's hand. So you'd say that person in particular had taken that all in. He had all those questions answered in his head. He then leaves that meeting and then tells everyone he has to toe the party line.
I mean, I went up to Luxon before the election in Wanganui. I said, look, Mr. Luxon, there is a bit of a talk that you're just a puppet for the World Economic Forum. So to dispel that terrible rumour, put about by people like me, actually, a little test of ethics. If I could persuade you to your satisfaction, so it's not a trick question, if I could persuade you to your satisfaction that 4 things you've got wrong, would you change your policy? And I said, if I could persuade you to your satisfaction that man does not cause dangerous global warming, that fluoridation does cause a drop of 7 IQ points in children, that the vaccinations are tantamount to vaxecutions in some cases, and that the treaty is not a partnership, if I could persuade you of those 4 things to your satisfaction, would you change your policy? And quick as a flash, the now Prime Minister says no. And I said, well, there you are, you're a crook. Oh, I
Hmm.
think we can. He always starts with look. Oh, look, I think we can disagree without being disagreeable. Well, I can't, not with a crook. This is who we've got. You know, I asked that to a climate summit too. Jim Bolger, the great greenie, was running it. If I could persuade you, Mr. Alarmist, because I was interrupting. He said, don't interrupt. And I said, well, can I ask a question? He said, all right, one question, says Jim. I said, if I could persuade you to your satisfaction that man is not causing dangerous global warming, would you change it? And I said to the audience, watch what he says now, folks. Blow me down. He says exactly that. He says, oh, but it is causing it. It's in IPCC report, page 28. I said, well, there we are. An honest man would have said yes. You know, if I could persuade you to your satisfaction that something you believed is not true, if you're an honest person, you would say, yes, I would change. But they say no. So that's a good question, folks, to use to trap these crooks and get them on record as saying that, you know, even if Klaus Schwab told you to kill children, you know, would you do it? Yes, I would. That's essentially what our Prime Minister is doing. And I think that's a pretty good question to put any time you get a politician in your sights. Because the honest answer is, oh, well, if you can prove to me that everything I've thought all my life is wrong, then obviously I'm going to have to change my mind on receipt of new information. That's what an honest person does. A lot of people are doing that right about now on all sorts of things. You know, Trump, Israel, vaccines, climate. Honest people are changing their minds that they've held forever. And it's hard. Cognitive dissonance kicks in, having to think, oh, everything I've thought has been a waste. You know, Rodney Hyde has been honest enough to say, well, look, mate, I had no idea how little I knew. That's an honest man, because he now knows and therefore he changes.
Yeah.
But our politicians don't.
Yeah. So Elliot, your question still needs to be answered. Andrew Hoggard, ex-Federated farmer from the Horowhenua area, I believe. A genuine guy, picked up by ACT, has put some ripples through, but he's waning right now. This is his chance to keep pushing hard, and he's waning. So I'm watching that one with interest. If you follow up my name, you'll see that I stood for New Zealand Loyal at the last election. If you not already know that.
I knew your name from somewhere. I was thinking before, I know your name from somewhere. So that makes sense. I see. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, Engel was a pretty...
He's not Karl Marx's offside of that.
No.
You're thinking of Engel's.
Yeah. That's right. So yeah, I stood there and was on their list for their party. That was the closest I could. I would closest there for big change for this country that we need. Going forward, we need strength.
There's a question here. Now, I don't understand this question, so I'm actually going to put it to you. It's let's have a look. With government putting forward the idea of introducing GM/mRNA injectables into the beef and dairy export stock, who exactly will be the international buyer as EU and USA have or are working to ban GM? Oh no, I do understand that. Okay, well, actually, that's a pretty tough question. Do you have any thoughts on that? I didn't realise the government were putting forward that idea of using injectables.
Well, genetic modification. I mean, take Winston Peters. He stood for it, the genetic modification of people. Then he decided he saw a catchment of voters in front of him on Parliament lawn, so he pretended that he'd changed his mind. Now he's back as his policy, the genetic technology bill. It's his policy and National's policy. To genetically modify people and their food and not label the food so you can't tell. That's as bad as it gets. That's as bad as you can declare war on your own species, I think. And Chris Luxon and Judith Collins thinks that's lovely. I did a
if they're looking at it from an economic if they're looking at it from an economic point of view, I can actually understand.
Yeah. So I think that our question actually answers itself. You're going to have massive pushback from countries in Europe which are already identifying that any GM entering their country is going to be a big no-no. And guys, it's a massive red flag for us. We can't have that at all. We need to get furious about this. We need to identify any company that's going to start this up and have nothing to do with them. Make them starve. If it's grass seed, if it's fruit, if it's sprays, you just identify them and make them starve.
There's the factor that they will kill you, but there's also the fact that it kills our export special, what am I trying to say, our unique selling proposition, doesn't it?
Yep.
Clean green New Zealand, no more.
We enter into a whole new array of sprays to contain the complications of those particular products grown in this country. Elliot, it's bad news. Really, really, really bad news.
Places like Japan, they want New Zealand produce because it hasn't fallen for the GM or the GE.
Yes. Yep.
They specifically want it. They request it.
Obviously, at times they pick up Roundup and alike in the honey, and over there in those Asian countries, and that gets us in big trouble. So you enter into any other many more spray programs that are going to be more concentrated and affect the cycle of plants and insects and everything alike. Sorry, my friend.
Do we trust these scientists that have let us down so badly in other areas to be all-knowing, godlike creatures? You've got a bit of an affinity with God. Well, I don't think this is what God had in mind. That man thinks he's God, and Judith thinks that's fine, and Chris thinks that's fine, and all these short-term thinkers. Have we not learned anything? What's in that song? From glyphosate, thalidomide, 1080 DDT, to doctors recommending cigarettes in pregnancy. Trust me, I am the minister with full indemnity. Trust
Well said.
food to modify our food.
So
many of these things that we've had to learn from after the event, after lots of people have died.
Profit ahead of common sense and longevity, Elliot. And I'll forewarn you if you're going to be exposed to any of those foods. I'll identify them, my friend. And if they keep pushing with this whole climate change rubbish and pushing Fonterra, unfortunately, I can say that now because I'm not a direct supplier. Fonterra now are starting to push these cockies into these processes of treating their dairy cows with less emissions, and that's bad news. Bad news. You start jabbing your cows or putting boluses in their stomachs, things like that. No, ask big questions, farmers. Ask big questions. Not a good direction.
Well said. Yeah, no, well said. Look, Phil, John, we were supposed to go for about half an hour. Have ended up going for over 1 hour, and I get the feeling we could actually even go further. But I think we really want to bring you guys back on, and I actually think it was a really wonderful chat. Look, I'll give you both a bit of a last word. If you could, just in about 30 seconds or less or so, what's one last thing that you would like for the New Zealand people to hear? As well as the fact that everyone here seems to be saying good luck for Tuesday, and we really hope it goes well. But what is one last thing that you want to leave us with? Just yourselves. Whoever wants to go first.
I will. Elliot and your listeners and alike, courage is contagious. And I'm afraid, put your flags up. It's on your licenses, it's on your passports. This is the flag of our country here. And let's start with that conversation. Let's get that up, and then we can work everything out from that point on. But let's get all courageous out there. Tuesday will happen. It'll just happen. And we'll progress from there. But thank you, Elliot. Thank you very much. And I love this guy. He's a great supporter.
Awesome. John?
I think we need to be inspired. There are very few Phils around, and we should be inspired by this man. He's going right out there on a limb. People have called him all sorts of names around here, the more conservative people. Oh, he's a loony, he's a wild-eyed conspiracy theorist. This is the salt of the earth we've got here, and I want one particular gender in particular to be inspired by. Out of all the 376 genders, there's one particular gender that's done an awful lot of invention since the dawn of time. but needs to get up right about now, like this one is doing, because all the other genders do very well, but they haven't got the hard edge that a certain gender needs to show at this time when you've got such an evil enemy coming at you from all angles. We were rather thinking we might have a gentleman's march.
We will.
Ladies welcome, but it's a gentleman's march.
We will.
To emphasise that we need that hard edge to be shown to the police and others who think they've got the monopoly on, aggression. There's a lot of very angry men out there, aren't there? They've been contacting you.
Very angry.
If he goes down, they get up. If he goes down, there'll be hell to pay. And so there should be. I'm not a violent person. I don't want to be violent. But hell, where's this country going if men don't stand up?
Well said.
Women
Well said.
have led. We've vaccinated the issue. They have led that issue. It's up to the men now to do their traditional leading, I believe.
Well said. Well said.
I think.
Yep, good on you. So, just for our audience out there, thank you so much for tuning in. You heard it. We've got some salt of the earth men. These are Kiwis, are not crazy or anything. These very well reasoned, well thought of answers and responses. We've had a look at the video. We really wish you all the best for Tuesday. We'll be looking forward to hear what happens. But in the meantime, we're definitely going to have you back. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. And for our audience out there, thank you for tuning in. We'll catch up again real soon. God bless you all.